Right, so I'm out for a walk at the moment and just been thinking about a few things that keep coming up each week with some of the people who are at quite an early stage building a business. And they're at that point where, they're started to get their company to a position where it is commercialized, it is monetized, they're starting to generate income, but there's a realization that they're actually not quite on the right path. And often this is a thing like, I'm not quite targeting the right niche with the name, the strapline, the logo, the slogan, the kind of vibe of the company. And this is the time to be really bold, because actually what you find is that there's two things in play when it comes to making this decision of should I make a change. And those two things are emotion and logic, and they sit at opposing sides of making this decision. So about August 2015, so last year, I was about to launch my course, which is now 8-Step Startup. It was originally 7-Step Startup, and I'd done so much work for probably 3 months building this thing, and everything had been lined up, all the website been built and things like that. And for reasons I'm not going to go into now, basically the decision had to be made to change to 8-Step Startup. There's a number of different things that came into play. All the emotion was pretty much overwhelming, actually saying, do you know what, just keep it a 7-Step Startup. The wrench of having to begin from scratch in many ways, in many parts of this, was absolutely, it was just something I just didn't want to bear. But the logical case, and more specifically the case of the best thing to do for the business, was actually to make this switch. So it was a major pain, but in reality it was always the best thing to do. So what it comes down to is this: if the decision you have to make about changing things for your company, from whatever state it currently is into something different, maybe you have to reorganize a team, maybe you have to change the direction, change the point of focus, change the name, change the general outlook or vibe of it, because it's obviously something you need to do for the betterment of the business, well, I'm sorry, but you have to come second. And yeah, the emotion is going to be there saying, I just don't want to do this, it's going to be a huge pain, but the reality is, if it's better for the business, you've got to suck it up. And sometimes taking that pretty big step back is worthwhile to then make massive progress forward. I don't regret it. I hated doing it, but it's not always going to be, roses and plain sailing, as they say. So one of the people I'm working with recently has had to do something similar, and I could see when it dawned on him that it was the right time and he had to make this decision. And when I suggested he think about the fact that there's emotion and there's logic in play, it was apparent what he had to do, and he had to make this change for the business. So sometimes, I'm sorry, you've just got to do it, but you've got to view it as the business as an organism has to thrive, and it's your responsibility to make sure it does that. And you cannot hold back better, more well-laid path of progress for your business because of how much you don't want to make those big changes and the emotion of it all. Sure, we get it, you've worked very hard to get this far, but if it's going to be more effective to take a slightly different path, well, then you need to make that decision. Okay, so it's a tough one, but if you know in the long run it's worthwhile, move now, get on with it. You'll only do it in the end anyway. It's a hard one, but it's probably the best thing to do. So remember, there's logic, the business case, there's often emotion, and that's quite a dichotomy. So you have to fight against the emotion, which is looking after number one, and actually look at the business first. Okay, anyway, I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are. This is England. Finally got a bit of sunshine, right? And so I'm just doing some deep thinking out and about. And anyway, I'll catch up with you all soon.